Are you miserable? Does your life just freaking suck today? Well, you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to be miserable. This is the Existential Stoic podcast.
How's it,
I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
what's up, Randy?
Danny, we were almost going to do an episode on how to be satisfied, but don't you think it's so much more relevant how to be miserable?
Yeah, we're probably miserable more than we are satisfied,
I know.
right?
I experience it on a
It's
regular
like,
basis.
I know and you know what's funny too? It's still, I mean, I'm in my 40s and it never ceases to amaze me how fast the transition can be from feeling totally fine to terrible. And arguably like, well, I used to be so unaware of why too, but I think the more I've been identifying things and being aware of it, the more I'm getting a clear sense of like how I function finally.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can just be hungry for like 10 minutes and all of a sudden, boom,
Yo, yesterday I got so depressed and then I was like, because I forgot to eat lunch and I was starving and I just didn't realize it. And so I was like getting all depressed and I was like, and then I ate and I felt great. And I was like, oh my God.
I know, it's
You think
crazy.
after like 4 decades, you'd have a handle on this stuff.
You're like talking yourself off a ledge and you're like, oh yeah, I just need to eat on a regular
I need
basis.
protein.
Yeah. Well, in that vein, we're going to talk about how to be miserable, give a few quick tips each. I will go first. My first one is just embrace it. So, like, I think probably, at least for myself, I'm speaking here, half the time that I'm miserable, it's just because I'm combating being miserable. Like, if I just embraced it and was like, I'm just going to be miserable, it would probably pass. But like, I'm like, I shouldn't be miserable. My life should be better than this. I can't believe I'm miserable. I can't believe this is happening again. I knew better than this. What's going on? I had life figured out already. And yeah, so just learning to embrace it.
That's a really good one, though. And I like what you said too, because you're so right. Like, most of us think when we get upset, we're like, this shouldn't happen. My life should be better than this. And it's like that expectation is what kills us. It's like if we just admitted that, yeah, we're gonna be miserable sometimes. Things are gonna go wrong sometimes, totally out of our control. That's okay. But we immediately shift to victimization, blame, and all this. It doesn't help anything. So I think it's a really good one. Yeah, you got to embrace it, and embracing it also helps you even be aware of what you're feeling, which is also good. Because I mean, that's
Yeah.
the other thing we do is deny it, push it away, and that doesn't help anything either.
Yeah, the
You know?
SEALs even have a saying for it called embrace the suck. When your life
Nice.
sucks, just embrace the suck.
Oh, the Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
For a second,
No,
I was
like,
thinking the animal. I was
embrace the
like, wow,
suck.
they have a saying. That's
Those
awesome.
SEALs.
Those guys are moving up in the world.
Yeah, as a veterinarian, we learn how to communicate with SEALs.
Yeah, I'm playing Baldur's Gate too much. My first one for how to be miserable is express yourself. Like you have to be like we were just mentioning, but you have to be aware of what you're feeling and you have to identify these feelings. So journaling is a great way to do it and start like figuring out why do I feel this way? What do I actually feel? How would I identify it? That in and of itself, I think helps so much. And I've been doing that more because I think I was very out of touch with my emotions for most of my life. And like, but the more you are just aware of it, identify it, the easier it is to deal with it. It's
Mm.
not this like, you know, unidentified sort of just blob of something. It's something you can actually recognize and identify. It makes it way easier.
Yeah, true. Like putting it into words and doing that helps you figure out what the heck is going on. Because like
Yeah.
half the time it's just this like whole I mean, for me, again, I'll just talk from my own experience, but like half the time I'm like, my life is over. This is it. Like I can't freaking believe this. And then I'm
I think
realizing like,
you can generalize there. I think that's most people.
yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm angry because that guy looked at me funny. Oh, that's it. you
Yeah,
know?
and it's fun. It's so funny. I don't know. It just amazes me how little we really understand ourselves.
Hmm.
There's like a disconnect between the physiological and the mental or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's a surprise that human civilization has lasted as long as it did.
I know we have no defenses. We're weak. We're
Yeah.
constantly questioning ourselves, and yeah, it's a
Dude,
mess.
and
Anyway,
dinosaurs were around for hundreds of millions of years. Like,
yeah,
whew.
we're not even close.
Yeah, yikes. Okay. Well, my second one, how to be miserable, is take the time to put yourself first. So like I think this is something that we all have all these shoulds that we're supposed to do, and we're supposed to, be good to other people and all this other and care about everybody else. And maybe you're not. Like, you can only be good to other people once you're good to yourself first. And I would say most of us, aside from like the sociopaths and the narcissists, are on the side of being too good to everybody else and not good enough to themselves. So take the time when you're miserable, just be like, screw everybody else. I'm going to take care of me.
Yeah, that's a good one. And some self-compassion, And I think you're totally right. Like most of us, like we let these perceived obligations we have to others get in the way. Or like, simple example is like, like I don't like going out all the time. And like I used to feel like I had to friends and stuff, and like it just wasn't like right for me. And then once I realized that and just stopped doing, like I mean, I still go out once in a while with friends and all, but it's way better because like it's when I actually feel like it. And it's just taking care of yourself. That's all. That's a good one. I really like that one. My second one is redirect it to something positive. And so I'll explain what I mean. Like we all feel feelings, miserable, right? Depression, all that. If you can identify it and figure out what the cause is, you can overcome it, right? You can redirect that energy to something better to better yourself. So like, I feel miserable, because X, Y, or Z. Well, then how can I use this feeling to then better my situation rather than wallowing in it? Or transform that energy, that power that I have to something that's going to help me overcome this.
Yeah, that's a good one, using it to your advantage. Like, I remember there was this book by the creator of Dilbert, Reframe Your Brain. He was talking about like how everybody is like loving on trauma nowadays. And like I see the part of it because it does kind of shape how we are. But like right now, everybody's kind of going a bit overboard. But he puts it in a different way where like a little bit. Where like the reframe is, because of my trauma, I can kick your ass at like doing something, like not physically like kung fu, but like,
Yeah.
because I've been through this stuff previously, I'm that much stronger and I can outlast you.
Well, that's what we forget all the time, right? Is all these trying situations make us capable of dealing with and overcoming those situations in the future. And it's like if we forget that, we forget that it's like an experience to learn, right? And to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good one. So my last
True.
one for how to be miserable is, see if you can find some other people who are miserable too. Like, I love doing this when I'm in a bad mood. I'll be going for a walk and I'll see somebody else who's pissed off, and I feel like a secret alliance with them. I'm like, yeah, I'm freaking pissed too. Like, we're in the same club. I try and catch eyes with them and be like, yeah, I know what you're going through, right?
It
But like,
sucks.
but it also like, it helps remind you your shared humanity, that like a lot of people, their life sucks at the moment. And it's not forever, but right now, you're miserable, life sucks,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's cool. You form secret clubs.
I like that one too, because it just gets you out of your own head thinking that this experience is uniquely yours, you know? Like everybody feels this way. And like, I mean, I like that too, because like finding somebody else miserable would be very easy, I imagine. It's like not that hard. You probably do it within like two minutes.
You just have to get them to stop looking at their phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what the hell? What do you want? I was distracting myself from my miserable life.
Right?
That's a good one though. My last one is just it's okay. We all have bad days. This has helped me so much, just reminding myself this and letting myself have bad days sometimes. It's totally cool. It's fine. Take a break. Maybe you need to, do something else, or, take some alone time. Whatever it is, just it's okay to have a bad day. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah, I really like that. Every time you say it, it definitely reminds me. And how you mentioned taking a break, because a couple episodes ago we were talking about how to know when you're doing too much, and you're like, when you're afraid to take a break. And it reminded me that like, oh yeah, I need to remember the world doesn't depend on me. Like, it's gonna keep on going after I'm gone. So it's okay to take a break.
It's because we think we're like, because we have that perception of ourselves as like the main character of our story. So we feel like the story is going to fall apart if we're not constantly doing stuff, right? Like, like the hero or whatever. But it's like the reality is like there's a lot of other people that can handle it. We're probably fine,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah.
Yep. Well, there you have it. Quick and simple how to be miserable. In case you were just having too good of a life and you wanted to
We want to
find
bring
it.
you down.
Yeah, right? Gladly, any day. So if you did enjoy that, if you could just, like the episode, give a positive comment, particularly on Apple Podcasts, that stuff tends to help out. It's like digital gold for us podcasters out there. Anyways, this is the Existential Stoic podcast. We'll see you next time. I'm Randy. That's Danny. Later, Danny.
Later, Randy.